killing the mentally ill is wrong. Why is that so hard to say?
What a lot on the left and some of the mainstream media are failing to mention, though, is that a spokesperson with the NYPD told Newsmax this week that that homeless man Neely has a previous record, which includes 42 prior arrests between the years 2013, 2021, 4 for assault and others for transit fraud and criminal trespass. In fact, Neely also had one active warrant for assault at the time of his death. Joining us now to discuss this a bit closer, Staten Island Congressman Michael Grimm, also retired U.S. Marine and former FBI agent, and alongside him, attorney and Republican strategist Erin Elmore. Welcome to you both today. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
You know, the story's gotten a lot of pickup, guys, but it's interesting what's omitted when you look at some of the coverage. And some interesting perspective by the New York Post. It reports that 27 people have been killed on New York City subways in the last 3 years. But we haven't heard any outrage from the left on that. So, Erin, first to you. Is this a bit of race baiting here? Do you think that's adding fuel to the fire?
I mean, certainly that does create a specific narrative that the left loves. But this has been declared a homicide, which is not a murder. Homicide is the killing of one person by another. And as we indicated, 42 prior arrests, many of those are violent. We should be asking Alvin Bragg, what are you doing about this recidivism? What are you doing to get these people off the streets? Like AOC says, why are we not getting mental health counseling or drug counseling for these people and just letting them run our streets? And New York City residents, what they should be protesting, rather, is all of the violence that is happening on the subways, all of the crime that is occurring in the city. Because this crime, I'm sure all these people in New York don't have access to all of this information, because if they did, there's not a whole lot to protest here.
Yeah, all excellent points. I mean, especially with the legal aspect of it. No charges have been filed yet, but we can only imagine, Michael, you know, if there's already been some protests here, that if there is, you know, not an arrest, there could be protests. I think either way, this just inflames the city.
But I'm doubtful with the climate that we have and with Alvin Bragg as the prosecutor. But we've seen others that were condemned and charged simply for defending themselves. That's the law in this country, and this is about something much bigger. It's about the far left, these radicals trying to really destroy the entire fabric of our society, including your ability to defend yourself, starting with taking away your guns and again, what's going on here. It's just disgraceful.
Yeah, and you know, it's not just New York. I do want to bring up, Erin, you're down here in Florida. There's a Walmart worker charged with murder for allegedly shooting and killing a customer. Tyrone Sterling was trying to protect a female store employee during a domestic fight. So when you see things like this, people make a split-second decision on whether or not to help someone they see in stress or in, you know, a violent situation, and they end up being the one who's vilified. At the end of the day, people, when you don't have policing, there are going to be people who try to help someone who they think is in danger.
Yeah, I think this is an absolutely unfortunate situation. We know this was a Good Samaritan that was killed. This person that perpetrated the crime, he has been charged, so he will face consequences. And in Florida, we have far fewer of those George Soros prosecutors, so law and order exists in the Sunshine State. But I do believe there was a domestic violence component here, and I hope that every woman or man that's in this situation really gets the help that they need, because I know there was a young baby that she was holding. This is down in Broward County, by the way, which is a very blue part of the state within, you know, the great state of Florida. And I do believe it's just very unfortunate, and hopefully Walmart does everything they can to protect their customers and we don't see more situations like this occur.
For sure. Erin and Michael, got to leave it there, but thank you to you both. Appreciate your time this Friday.
Thank you so much.
Members are always a good worst take on the worst take panel. Thank you, John. All right, Erin, let's get to your worst take this week. And the Navy, digital ambassador. What?
Yeah, nothing says military preparedness like a drag queen representing our United States Navy. What do you think Putin is saying right now? Honestly, what do you think Xi Jinping is saying right now? That America is a joke. This is an absolute abomination to our country and our proud men and women that serve in uniform. Listen, you can be a drag queen all day. Do what you want. Just don't do it around our kids, and don't make this the face of the United States military, specifically the Navy. I'm very personally invested in that because my father fought the Nazis in the Navy. So I really just think this is, a lot of people that have served our country are not so proud to do so because of this, and that's why it is my worst take of the week.
Yeah, we had Rob O'Neill on with us, and he's disgusted by it as well. And Yeah, it's
Yeah, a lot of concern
military.
about that. It's going pretty far
Yeah.
at this point, and it's upsetting a lot of people who did put their lives and sacrifice, their lives on the line, on the front line for our country. So, Matthew, tell us about your worst take of the week.
all right. Well, everyone's a victim. Play the victim card. There you go.
Not good to be teaching that at journalism, by the
No.
way. It's not a good precedent.
Joel, last but not least, what is your worst take? It's a tweet, I guess.
Yeah, this is a tweet from a guy named Justin Berkobian, he claims to be a Christian pastor. He's the kind of one of these woke, progressive Christian pastors. And he tweeted, Jesus is a 30-year-old black man riding the subway, hungry and thirsty and fed up. And obviously, this is a reference to the death of Jordan Neely on the subway that has been in the news for the last few days. And aside from the fact that I can't quite remember the story from the book of Matthew where Jesus wanders from subway car to subway car, terrorizing and assaulting people, this is kind of the broader point is that woke pastors do this a lot. I see this a lot from them, is that they kind of take Jesus and they shoehorn him in to whatever the kind of the leftist cause du jour of that day is, and at worst, or at best, it's kind of like a ham-fisted attempt at clout online, but at worst, it's taking the Lord's name in vain, and it's kind of gross.
It is gross. They selectively use Jesus when it works for their narrative, and then they will vilify Christians and Catholics.
I was actually going to choose that one. I was going to choose that one.
They forgot that Jesus has 42 prior arrests. Some of them are violent, so part of his tweet must have been missing.
I mean, look at my take on that. Jordan Neely, I knew this guy. I worked in New York for 10 years as a reporter. I came across him a number of times.
Wow.
I never had a bad interaction with him. I knew a little bit about his background. He had a lot of psychological, emotional issues, and clearly there was a problem. You can't threaten people on a subway car like that. But
Welcome back to John Bachman Now. It is that time of the week, our Friday fun panel. It is Meme Team, and our own John Bachman gets a pass this week because he had a big sit-down today with Governor Ron DeSantis, which airs tonight at 8 p.m., so you want to stay tuned to Newsmax for that. So
Indeed.
We are going to let him kind of do his thing up there, and we're going to get to our memes. As always, Erin, ladies first, what do you have for us this week?
Everyone is very concerned with AI taking over, and I'm a Philly girl at heart, so I just thought this was funny, something out of the ordinary. AI could replace the equivalent of 300 million jobs, and why is he doing this? And all I ever have to say is talking about practice. Good old Allen Iverson.
I love it.